Alright everyone, welcome to the Aftermath video for the review for Resident Evil Dead Aim. I just finished the game tonight, a few minutes ago in fact. And if you're not familiar with this series, this is actually an Aftermath Raw videos, a video series, where I give my raw thoughts on a game after I beat it, right after I beat it, and before I start writing the review. It comes out after. So if you're watching this before you saw the review, stop this video, go watch the review. Now, Resident Evil Dead Aim. A game that I probably would have bought back in high school and would have played probably all the time. Not as much as Resident Evil 4, mind you, but I definitely would have played it a lot. Is it a good game? It's a medium game, if I were to say anything. This camera is really bugging me. Is the game good? I would say, if you've never played it before and you're expecting a traditional Resident Evil experience, I would say just lower that bar really low. While in the review I did say that I liked this game, and that I'm probably gonna rate it at a 7 most likely, maybe a 6. It's a very strange idea for a Resident Evil game. I mean, it's almost what the Resident Evil Revelations games kind of became, actually. A spin-off story about two characters who we don't know or care about. They have no backstory. So it's really hard to care about the two characters in this game. And that goes for the villain as well. The main thing that was entertaining was reading the journals and stuff that you find. I thought it was funny that they kind of try to change the lore in this game, with some of the journals blaming the whole Raccoon City incident on this one villain we've never heard of before called Morpheus. And I mean, this game is meant to be played with the gun con. Let me tell you, the way that the game maneuvers as far as your main character goes, you want to play this with the controller. You don't want to play this with the gun con. This would have been good if it was an arcade game, maybe. Yeah, if it was a gun con game, arcade, yeah, it'd be good, a Resident Evil arcade game. But it's not. And it plays very much like a cheap knockoff version of a Resident Evil game, if that makes sense. They tried to incorporate the two of a gun con game and an actual Resident Evil game. The controls take a little bit to get used to, but after like 5 minutes you understand how to use them. The game is extremely short, and for me that's not a problem when it comes to this game, because the story is very up in the air, and a lot of me figuring out where to go throughout the game was guesswork. It wasn't really me looking at the map. It was more just I made a lucky guess and I went through the right door and found the right key to the right door. The game's extremely short. I beat it in under 3 hours, so that should tell you something for a Resident Evil game. That's probably a record, you know, of how fast you can beat a Resident Evil game without needing to backtrack anywhere. Something I was really confused about, why did the main villain, it was a dude at the beginning, and then when he infects himself with the virus, he turns into a woman. I didn't understand that. He has a voice of a woman, obviously a body of a woman, and his feet turn into stilettos that a woman would wear. But then there are parts where his voice goes back to a dude, and it's supposed to be the same character. I was really confused when I was first introduced to the character when it had changed. I thought it was a completely different thing, like Veronica or something from Code Veronica. That's what it looks like almost, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I read all of the journal entries that I could find, and like I said, a lot of the journal entries are just entirely confusing because they try to change the canon of what happened in Resident Evil 2, saying that this guy, this main villain in this game, was responsible for Raccoon City, and a lot of the people working on this cruise liner ship are all employees of Umbrella, and a lot of them were also responsible for the events in Raccoon City. Extremely confusing. The two main characters, like I also said, it's hard because you don't really care about them at all. In fact, you don't even know what they're actually doing there. One guy is like there for a mission to, I don't know, destroy the T-virus, and the lady from China is there to also destroy it or also bring it back. I'm not really entirely sure. The voice acting for the game is beyond horrible for all characters involved. And the sound is at times so bad that you can't even understand what the main characters are saying. So I kind of regret not turning on the subtitles for the game, because there's literal times where there's sound effects going on and the characters are talking and you literally had no idea what they said. The mixing and everything is just so bad that I kind of, the story was so weird in general that I just was like, I shrugged. I didn't really care. I just wanted to see these weird new creatures that they threw into a Resident Evil game that don't seem very Resident Evil-like to me. They seem like more Left 4 Dead or just something else that would be like House of the Dead or something like that. That's what they were going for. Like the giant fatty boss, or the giant bug monster that looks like something from Code Veronica mixed with something from Parasite Eve. The hunters looked really funny. The zombies were they were zombies, and then there was like other creatures they tried to throw in there, like these little frogs that spit acid and more bugs. I mean, at least they were trying to be creative, I guess. It was just weird. The end of the game, the ending boss fight, where the man lady from this game, the evil Mobius or Morbius or whatever his name is, Morpheus, he changes into the giant blob monster that Birkin turns into at the end. I didn't really understand that. And then you have to do like 2 tutorial fights with it before you can actually kill it. And then as this lady's giving you directions in between these fights to get through these tunnels and hallways like you saw in like Alien, she gives you the directions straight into zombies to like chew on you. And every time you go down a different hallway, because there's actual ammo down there and health packs, she keeps yelling at you over and over again, wrong way, maybe it's a trap. And you're like, okay. You turn around and it spawned like 3 more zombies than there should have been. So it's a risk-reward thing. I don't know. This game is a Resident Evil game I always wanted, and for some reason I never picked up. The cover art is really, really awesome. I mean, look at that. That's really cool. And the back, tell me that doesn't look like Veronica from Code Veronica. It is. And somehow the guy turned into it. I don't know why. Yeah. Trying to play this with a gun con would be really, really difficult. Especially when all the moving around you gotta do. It just would be super clunky. The replayability, I wouldn't say, is very much there. To be honest with you, it's not a game I'll probably ever play again now that I've beaten it. Even though it does give you the option to restart the game as the Chinese lady character, it's just not worth replaying, to be honest with you. I don't think there's, I looked it up, I don't think there's a different ending. It's one ending. So it's not really doesn't really make it worth it to play it over again if there was. And as far as a Resident Evil game, I just consider it as a one-off. I'm not really sure yet. I haven't done the research yet of how much this game retailed for when it came out, but hopefully it wasn't full price. Especially because this didn't come with the gun con. So, I love how it says on the back, intense blend of action and puzzle solving. There's some action in it. There's some parts where you're like, oh, but that's very far and few between. And the puzzles, I don't know what they're talking about with puzzles. I didn't experience one puzzle throughout the game. If you consider collecting keys from a room a puzzle, then I guess you experience some puzzles. Would I suggest ever buying this game? Yeah, if you love Resident Evil and you like these gun con games, even though I wouldn't suggest playing this with a gun con, I would get it. It's just a cool part of my Resident Evil collection now, and something I can say I beat that was Resident Evil related, not something, like I said, I would ever go back to. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this Aftermath video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you on another game review. Yeah, have a good night.